Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is one of the most lore-heavy games in the series, full of unexpected twists, hidden secrets, and confusing details that still have theorists stumped over 10 years later. On the surface, the story of the game seems pretty simple, but the deeper you look, the more questions begin to appear. Why are the toy animatronics acting so aggressively to the night guard if they may not even be possessed by children? What happened during the week before the game takes place? Where did the puppet come from? What is Phone Guy talking about? Who did the Bite of 87? And most importantly, what is the DCI? All of these questions were raised by FNAF 2, but as more and more games in the series came out, these mysteries were seemingly left unsolved, until now. What if I told you that the answers to all of these questions have been hidden in plain sight the whole time, and that one tiny detail everyone has missed makes everything else fall into place, and completely solves the seemingly unsolvable lore of FNAF 2? And trust me when I say, you have never heard a theory like this one. First, let's look at some of the more overt details that give us an idea of when FNAF 2 takes place relative to the other games in the series. The player is introduced to the location as a new and improved version of the previous Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which seems to have somewhat of a bad reputation, presumably due to the MCI, the most well-known tragedy associated with Fazbear Entertainment. This new location features brand new state-of-the-art animatronics, which according to Phone Guy, have special features like facial recognition and the ability to detect predators, presumably a safety precaution to make sure a repeat of the MCI doesn't happen here. The problem is that these new animatronics seem to be having some technical difficulties. According to Phone Guy, they spooked the previous night guard, the first guard to work at that location, by moving around at night and probably trying to kill him. That first guard is now on day shift. We'll get back to him. Besides the toy animatronics, there's also the original 5 from the first location, who are presumably animated by the spirits of the MCI. The location also features this. The puppet, or the marionette as it's called in the movie. Its main traits are that it seems to be in charge of giving gifts to kids at the prize counter, and it doesn't get aggressive until the music box stops playing. The Freddy mask doesn't fool her, so it seems like she's somehow smarter or more aware than the others. And as we'll soon learn, she plays a much more important role in the events of this game in particular. As the week progresses, things start getting weirder. Phone Guy's nightly calls become increasingly more panicked, as what starts out as rumors about whatever's going on out there quickly become an active criminal investigation into the restaurant. Phone Guy reassures us that the daytime security guard has reported nothing unusual, which from a narrative standpoint is clearly telling us that he's involved in whatever is going on. Meanwhile, the toy robots have been getting more and more agitated, becoming increasingly aggressive towards adults in particular. Phone Guy thinks that someone may have tampered with their facial recognition software, but it's not like he really knows what the actual reason is. On the 5th night, the day guard is hastily fired, and the Phone Guy says he's going to try to contact the original restaurant owner, the owner of Fredbear's Family Diner. And the very next day, the restaurant is closed because someone used a spare yellow suit in the back? Okay. So, what the happened? Well, to find out, we're gonna have to look at the other main source of the story for this game, the cryptic, mysterious 8-bit post-death minigames. And believe me when I say that the answers they contain upend everything we thought we knew about FNAF 2. There are 4 8-bit minigames in FNAF 2, all of which are pretty cryptic and difficult to piece together, but once you do, they explain everything about the game. Let's go over them in order of increasing difficulty to understand, and try not to lose our minds in the process. Foxy Go Go Go. This minigame shows the original Foxy running out from Pirate's Cove to greet a group of 5 kids over and over, finally seeing their corpses on the final run, with the purple guy standing smugly to the side. There's not much to read into here. This is clearly a depiction of the MCI. 5 kids dead at the first location with William Afton. One of the kids seems to be sadder than the others. One could say, crying even? It's probably nothing. Help them. Here we see the puppet giving gifts and giving life to the spirits of the 5 MCI victims. We see their corpses slumped over on the floor, and the puppet giving them each an animatronic mask as she moves past them. The Golden Freddy spirit, in classic Golden Freddy fashion, seems to possess the suit differently from the rest. It's unclear when and where exactly this takes place, but the common interpretation is that it happens at the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, before FNAF 2, soon after the kids actually die. Or is that really what's going on here? Take a look at how each kid is slumped over, strikingly similar to how the withered animatronics appear in the back room of the FNAF 2 restaurant, and even more so in the Save Them minigame, which we'll talk about more soon. Even the sizes of the rooms in both instances, and the spacing between the characters is extremely similar. It's quite possible that Give Gifts, Give Life is taking place at the FNAF 2 location, in this very back room, which would explain why these old models suddenly become animated as soon as they're in the same place as the puppet. It would also explain why Phone Guy is suddenly so confused why they're suddenly able to move around when they shouldn't be able to. The next minigame, Save Him, seems to show us the puppet's origins. We see Freddy bringing cake to a bunch of kids in the restaurant. The player is helpless to do anything but watch as the purple guy drives up in his car and kills the lone crying child who is stuck outside the... Wait a minute. Outside?
I can personally assure you that whatever is going on out there, however tragic it may be, has nothing to do with our establishment.
Could this murder be what Phone Guy is talking about? The tragic event he claims has nothing to do with the restaurant, which the shifty daytime security guard assures him didn't happen under his watch? Is this the cause of the investigation that correlates with the toy animatronics becoming more aggressive and the restaurant getting closed at the end of the week? Yes. On day 1 of Afton's shift, the same day as night 1 of Jeremy's tenure, he sees an opportunity to lash out against Henry by killing his daughter Charlotte. Since he's the daytime security guard, nobody is there to save her or witness her death, and he's able to cover it up by reporting nothing unusual when rumors start to spread on day 3 and the police start investigating on day 4. She possesses the restaurant's security puppet as shown in the FNAF 6 minigame, which, if this truly is the FNAF 2 location, we can assume is part of the same advanced security system as the toy animatronics. A security system that was installed because of the MCI to prevent something like it from happening again. That would mean that as the puppet, Charlotte's ghost would now be able to control all of these robots, which explains why they suddenly start acting aggressive towards adults. It also explains why the withered animatronics only start attacking the player on night 2, after Charlotte discovers them in the back room and brings them to life, just like we see in the Help Them minigame. Need more proof that this is what's going on in FNAF 2? Well, it's exactly what we're shown in the FNAF 2 movie. Charlotte dies in a very similar manner, where she's being essentially locked out and shunned by the restaurant goers. And when William kills her, the restaurant is able to cover up her death as an accident, probably giving some PR statement along the lines of,
Fazbear Entertainment denies any wrongdoing. These things happen sometimes.
On top of that, the puppet is shown to be able to control the toy animatronics, an ability that Charlotte inherits when she comes to possess it. And what does she will the toys to do? To exact revenge on who she hates the most, who she blames for her death, innocent adults, which brings us to our final minigame that ties everything together. But before that, please consider liking the video if you've been enjoying the theory so far, and subscribe to support the channel. I have more thoughts and theories to share about FNAF, and I'd love for you to be there when I do. Now, back to the video. Save Them is by far the most confusing minigame in FNAF 2 because it depicts an event that doesn't seem to fit in cleanly with the timeline. We see withered Freddy being led by the puppet around the FNAF 2 building, which is mostly empty, save for 5 corpses slumped over in the corners of various rooms, along with pools of blood. All the while, we hear a robotic voice spell out, "Save them." On rare occasions, the purple guy, wearing a security badge, charges at Freddy and ends the minigame, and the message, "You can't," flashes on screen. The event shown in Save Them is commonly referred to as the DCI, because it seems to depict 5 dead children in the restaurant in contrast with the missing children of the MCI. The first question this scene raises is, when did this happen? Well, since the purple guy is wearing a security badge, it must happen while he still works as a security guard at the restaurant, either as a night guard during week 1 or as a day guard during week 2. But here's the thing. William gets fired on day 5 of week 2, which the phone guy makes seem like a sudden change prompted by the company discovering his involvement with Charlotte's death or some other crime. so save them can't happen at any point after that. It also can't happen during Jeremy's night shifts in week 2 because we'd be able to see it during the night gameplay. That limits it to any night of week 1 or days 1 through 5 of week 2, but we can narrow it down even further. We previously deduced that Charlotte was killed on day 1 of week 2, as the puppet is possessed by that night and the withers are possessed by night 2. In Save Them, the puppet seems to already be possessed, which rules out this taking place anytime during William's night shift in week 1, since Charlotte hadn't died at that point. That means it must have taken place during William's day shift in week 2, but before he was fired. And we can use the phone guy's calls to pinpoint the exact day of the incident. The 5th day of week 2, William's last day as a security guard at the restaurant, the day he gets fired. So that answers the question of when this happens, but we still have to figure out what exactly is going on here. Who are these 5 kids, and how and why does William kill them? But here's the thing, they aren't kids, and William didn't kill them. The toys did. Take a closer look at the sprites for these supposed children. They don't look much like how we've seen dead kids depicted in these 8-bit minigames at all. Even the ones we see in this very same game. They're much more slender and would likely be taller if they were to stand upright. What they do look like, though, is the way Scott has drawn adults consistently throughout the entire series. Slender and tall with a somewhat oversized head. Look at Orange Guy from Midnight Motorist, Couch Person, who even has the same slumped over posture, the technicians from Sister Location, and even the purple guy from this very same minigame. So they're adults, not kids like we've been assuming for years. But how do we know the toys kill them? Well, look at the progression of events described by Phone Guy in the lead up to this incident. On night 4, he remarks that the toys have been acting aggressive towards staff, which indicates that Charlotte's influence over them is getting stronger and her desire for revenge against William is being misdirected towards other staff members. This culminates with the DAI when the toys lash out and kill 5 adults during the day, causing William to be fired for failing to actually perform his function as a security guard, and the building to be put on lockdown. While I was writing this video, I was listening to the latest tdreads stream, which just so happened to be about the DCI. It was as if God David himself was granting me divine inspiration. On this stream, none other than Green Afton himself, Withered Circle, pointed out a tiny detail about this minigame that everyone has been overlooking. A detail that made me even more confident that my theory about the toys being the killers of the DCI was right. Chica is missing her beak, just like when she's attacking the player in the night gameplay sections. Why would she be missing her beak here? Because she's just been attacking random adults in the restaurant. It's an important detail Scott included to let us know that the toys are in attack mode in this moment. This is exactly what we see in the FNAF 2 movie. The toys, under the influence of Charlotte, go on a murderous rampage against adults specifically, not children. Her motive in the movie is that adults neglected her and let her die, but her motive in the games would be slightly different. It's most likely that she's lashing out at William, but is punishing adults in general for revenge. That just leaves one question. What are Charlotte, Withered Freddy, and William doing in this minigame? Well, we know that Charlotte is the one who influenced the toys to do all of this in her rage against adults, so she would likely be waking up Withered Freddy to help the cause in some way. But the adults are already dead, so what else could Withered Freddy do? If Charlotte wanted all of them dead, then she wouldn't be telling Freddy to save them, unless it's Freddy and the other MCI victims she's trying to save. Save by finding and killing William, which the toys clearly weren't able to do. Since Charlotte was the one who brought their spirits to life in the animatronics, she probably knows that the only way to free them is to kill their killer, William, which is exactly what happens in FNAF 3. After William dies in a springlock failure, the spirits of the MCI fade away. Now, of course, that came with some complications, mainly that the kids weren't able to actually move on until Happiest Day, and William was later resurrected as Springtrap. But remember that this is Charlotte's first week of being an animatronic possessing ghost, so she would only be able to figure this out after attempting to kill William. But unfortunately for her and the MCI, William is unkillable. He always comes back. And this whole event, Charlie's first attempt at freeing the spirits of the MCI, was a massive failure. Save them? You can't. Now, this theory is very, very out there, and it uses very minute details to draw radically different conclusions from what the fandom believes. But I truly believe that it offers the most comprehensive solution to one of FNAF's messiest puzzles. But in case you're still not convinced, let's take one last look at the timeline of FNAF 2 with this theory in mind, matching up the night gameplay with the phone calls and the 8-bit minigames, and let me know what you think by the end. And yes, I'm gonna talk about Fredbear's and the yellow suit. In early November of 1987, the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza opens, and it features a state-of-the-art security apparatus of toy animatronics controlled by a central security puppet, put in place to ensure that another murder spree wouldn't befall this new restaurant. The first night guard to work here is William Afton, the purple guy, and he's up to no good again. During his week, the toy robots go after him because they can detect a predator a mile away, and his mere presence is activating their security sensors. He complains and gets moved to the day shift the following week. In the late hours of operation during his first day as the day guard, William kills Charlotte, his arch nemesis Henry's daughter, outside the restaurant where the puppet couldn't stop him. She then possesses the puppet and is now able to control the toys. That night, the new guard, Jeremy, has to deal with a haunted puppet and the agitated toys attacking him, but he does not yet have to contend with the old withered animatronics from the first location, because they aren't possessed yet. They can't move. The next day, Charlotte discovers the old robots in the back and learns the terrible truth that they're stuffed with the bodies of the MCI. She uses some ghostly magic to help them possess the suits the same way she's been possessing the puppet. That night, Jeremy now has to deal with them too. Poor Jeremy. On day 3, Charlotte's absence is starting to get noticed more and more, and rumors about her death start circulating in and around the restaurant. William assures management that he hasn't seen anything unusual, and that night, Phone Guy relays this sentiment to Jeremy. As usual, Phone Guy has no idea what's going on. On day 4, rumors turn into a full-on criminal investigation into Charlotte's murder, and the toys start acting noticeably aggressive towards the adults. Phone Guy thinks that someone may have tampered with their facial recognition software, but the truth is that they're growing angrier under Charlotte's influence as she prepares to lash out. On day 5, Charlotte and the toys massacre 5 adults in the restaurant, and the surviving patrons are evacuated as the building is put on lockdown. William is immediately fired for sucking at his job, or the police investigation may have indicted him, or both. Either way, he's out. Knowing how Fazbear Entertainment is, they would have covered this whole thing up as fast as possible in order to keep the place open. So that night, when Phone Guy makes his call to Jeremy, he doesn't know what went down. All he knows is that the day guard was fired and management is trying to get in contact with the original restaurant owner, the owner of Fredbear's Family Diner, who we know was probably Henry. They might be calling him to find out if he knows anything about why the toys are going on a murderous rampage. On day 6, Phone Guy finds out what happened the previous day, and immediately assumes that it must have been because someone used the spare yellow suit they had in the back, Golden Freddy. He thought that them moving the suit around triggered the toys to go berserk, since the incident they were trained to respond to famously involved a yellow spring-lock suit. Only this time, that wasn't the case at all. Golden Freddy was moved because it's possessed by Bite Victim, recently awakened by Charlotte and moving for the first time in years. The real reason for the toy's erratic behavior is Charlotte's influence, but Phone Guy has no way of figuring this out. Regardless, word of the previous day's tragedy has gotten out, so the restaurant is forced to close, at least for a while. But in classic Fazbear Entertainment fashion, the company is willing to put more lives at risk just to have one final birthday party before they close. A birthday party where one unlucky night guard turned day guard gets his frontal lobe bitten clean off by one of the toys. And that is the true story of FNAF 2. That is what was going on in that insane, bizarre restaurant. So, that was my insane DCI/FNAF 2 theory. I hope you guys thought it was interesting. I started making this video while knowing full well that this theory was going to be way more off the wall than my first one, but I thought it was a really fun and surprisingly thorough explanation of the game's weirdness. Last video, I said that I'd be doing a sister location theory as kind of a part 2 to that video, and rest assured that that theory is definitely still coming. It's just going to take a bit longer because there's so much information to parse through there. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please leave a like if you haven't already, and subscribe so you don't miss my next video. Also, please leave a comment to let me know your thoughts on this theory. I would really love to know. And please remember to be respectful to each other in the comments. See you next time.